So I
I
hate
don't know what
writing
he's
this, but
doing.
it's getting out of hand. Just spoke to some family members in southern Ontario and went to visit them, and there are literally people pooping on all the beaches along Lake Erie. These are small towns, and most of them don't have bathrooms on the beaches. So instead of driving to a local Tim Hortons, or planning their bowel movements to not be in public on a beach, these terrible people are just, well, pooping all over the beaches, trespassing on people's property for photos of how beautiful Canada is, then leaving behind garbage. We're talking mounds of trash just being left behind on the beaches. Some residents try to talk to them, but the people don't speak English and just continue to litter massive amounts of garbage and take dumps on the beach. One prong of
I wonder
Canada's
what
post-colonial
language they
mission to
speak.
civilize has been to fund anti-public defecation billboards in Ghana. It would appear that, having imported the third world, we can expect to see those same billboards showing up on Ontario beaches. It's all right, though. The fabulous diversity of restaurants in downtown Toronto is worth it.
I'm sorry, but I think I have a right to shit on public beaches. Fuck you.
I mean, it's not your public beach. You haven't paid taxes for that public beach.
Oh my god, that's fucking
It's
terrible.
Hindi. It's fucking goddamn Hindi.
Yeah, no, but that post is clearly racist because they're trying to civilize the imported immigrants. You know.
Well, apparently Tristan said that this was in Ghana, which is fucking hilarious because it was sponsored by the Canadian government.
You know,
hilarious.
This is, I mean, all you need to do is look at the banks of the Ganges, and you know why you should not be importing certain groups.
Oh god, I love that Stormy's response. What a shitty story.
Oh, apparently that's adding on Stormy's fine, but yes, it was a very shitty story.
I didn't even notice the first one. Right, she's in lurk mode. Okay, at least she's not in lunk mode.
Yeah, apparently Stormy's having
that is just one of those. It's becoming dreadfully common everywhere because these are uncivilized people. They just are. There's no way around it.
I think we should have just put a wall, you know, a big fucking wall around one particular country or continent, should I say?
I mean, Winston Churchill did nothing wrong.
I'm just thinking, like, well, all right, you can't build a fucking wall in the middle of the ocean, but you can lay lots of sea mines.
What you need is do the Atlantic Wall. Just mine the beaches, so when somebody goes to cop a squat, they just boom, gone.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh man, landmines for that would be amazing. or better yet, they don't blow them up because then they have body parts that you have to then deal with and rot.
No, seagulls. Seagulls take care of that.
You know, actually, I'm not against this. Yeah, you mentioned the seagulls, and I'm convinced. Let's do it. You can even airdrop the mines. You don't even have to land.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic.
I love that we've gone from how do we solve people shitting on public beaches to let's landmine everything.
I mean, if it works, it works.
This would be the ultimate solution for the British dinghy problem, you know.
Well, I mean, I've been saying about having proper sea mines, so the old-timey fashion ones, you know, the big massive ones that, you know, you walk in slightly close to it and it explodes and takes off, you know, a battleship with it.
Yeah, sounds fancy. So, of course, someone posted about it on the Ontario subreddit. And of course it got removed because can't talk about people pooping on beaches because that might make people think if there's a particular demographic doing it.
Reddit's just into pooping on beaches, that's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just poop.
Yeah, and of course, the top comment is some idiot going, we need more 24/7 four-season lavatories. Oh, are you going to pay for them, are you?
Hell no, of course he isn't.
Yeah. Of course, someone who's not a complete psycho responds, I've lived in Ontario all my life. In the absence of a porta potty, he has never, not once, caused me to shit in the sand at the beach.
Funny that. Sounds like somebody's civilized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, having experienced a few emergencies in my day, a trash bag will do wonders. Plus, you don't leave shit laying around.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Like, apparently, then, if you really are that desperate for a shit, drop your dax, walk into the fucking ocean. The fish will take care of it.
Yeah.
But on the beach.
Just like you have to be some sort of evil cunt to be able to just do it on the beach like that. Like, I'm just gonna leave this here for little kids to play with.
And that's
No, I
the
mean,
that's the
again,
that's the other thing. If you go out into the water, no one knows. You can just pull your pants down.
You just sort of wiggle around in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's like just like no one
What's that
knows
weirdo
unless it
doing in the
starts.
beach?
Well, no, that's you know what. And since there's not a lot
Would
of
you ra-
tidal action in the Great Lakes,
Well, would
it's
you?
like you
Would
go
you?
out a little ways, you sit down.
Well, that's it. You could even squat in the shallow water. And I'd much rather be the weirdo squatting in the shallow water than the guy shitting on the beach.
Disclaimer: Sultans of Chalet don't approve of shitting on the beach or in the water around the beach. Use the toilet like a civilized human.
Exactly. We invented toilets. Use them.
I
I
like
love the way we're
Tristan's
just talking
comment.
about how to get away with it like it's normal.
The Tristan's comment here. The battle line in the war of civilization versus barbarism is where the feces stops and clean streets begin. Canada is losing ground.
Oh, that's so spot on.
Yeah.
Well, I need to go crawl into my trash can, but I will be back shortly.
Yeah. So
Into
while,
his trash. Where is he going?
I think he's hopping in
find
the
out.
car to go to a far worse place.
Yes.
Oh, that was probably it.
So while Bitleach is hopping in his trash can, let's talk about the people who are cutting holes in the bottom of tents, sticking the tent on the beach, shitting in the hole in the bottom of the tent, and then taking the tent with them when they're done.
What? They've privatized their fucking pooping on a beach.
Yes.
Just what? I bought this $200 tent so I could take a poo on a beach.
Yep. So Ravage 1996 says, people who think it's racist to be upset at people who poop at the beach in a tent, oh, pardon me, need a wake-up call. If you're going to move to a new country, you should conform to their standards and not have them conform to yours. I'm surprised he hasn't been shot for saying that on the Ontario
no.
subreddit.
Not only that, but like he's got 643 points. You'd expect him to be downvoted into oblivion.
Yeah. Apparently that's where the people of Ontario draw the line, shitting on their beaches.
They poop in a tent and leave the tent for others to poo in. I thought they just pooed in the sand like cats. I'm confused. By the way, no one should be pooing anywhere but a bathroom.
But don't worry, Ravage explains it. They set up a bottomless tent, dig a poop/garbage hole, use it during their time on the beach, cover it up with some sand, and take the tent when they leave. Ew.
That's awful. It's like I saw this story. It was a while ago where some people built a Western toilet in an Indian location. It was part of an Indian village, and they basically built them a modern public toilet.
Yeah.
And instead of using the public toilet, they decided to worship it.
So rather than a fucking airplane cult, they've got toilet cults.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to worship this toilet, but I think it's because it was like a gift. So they're like, oh yeah, this is such a magical thing that we've been given, so we're going to worship it instead. I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
But don't worry, India's been launching campaigns to educate people about pooping in public. For example, they built 110 million toilets. And they're like, but will people use them?
Well, that's the thing. They actually genuinely don't use toilets the same way we do. It's not.
No, they don't. Apparently,
It's not a joke. It's not. It's just this very bizarre culture shock.
Apparently, before 2014, only 39% of households had access to a toilet. Yeah, it's no wonder they shit in the streets and have massive cholera outbreaks. Jesus Christ, you just like we at
It's
least
not even funny. It's just like how only 39%.
like they
Like
don't.
it's not like India hasn't. What would have happened to India had the British Empire not decided to leave? You think they'd have more toilets? I think they'd have more toilets.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there we go. From cargo cults to gotta go cults. FML. Says Ardent. Oh,
God.
Lord.
I like that. Rabbit 1996 gets it. Ceding the empire was a crime against humanity. Absolutely.
Well,
I
that's
mean, it's
it.
the most populated country in the whole world, and they don't have access to toilets beyond, not even like 50% access to toilet. I don't even know how you can get so low.
Hey, well, the problem is where England invented digging a hole and shitting in the hole, India never got that far.
God, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll just poo in the river, we'll put at the start of the river and let the shit run all the way down to the water supply that we want to drink from. We'll be fine.
One problem is that the government focused on getting the villagers to build toilets, but didn't consider facility maintenance and sewage management. You're supposed to not only construct the latrines, but also educate people on how to use them. Sorry, you need to.
They also don't use the same style of toilets as us. For
use
the most part. They are
toilets.
squatty, which I don't have a problem with because
if you're already
better for you.
Yeah, if you're already squatting in the street, I mean,
yeah,
like what's the difference? Here's a special made hole in the ground for shitting in.
And I think this is also probably why they have a lot of trouble with rapes and stuff as well, because people don't have the privacy of their own toilet.
It probably doesn't help at all, does it?
Well, they have a massive rape culture out there. They've got huge of gangs, just the same as in when we had the Syrian refugees come to Germany. There's lots of rape gangs.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. But yeah, it probably doesn't help that apparently 50% of the population have to make themselves vulnerable by taking their clothes off and squatting in the middle of the fucking street. At least the shitty little latch on a public toilet gives you half a second to grab something to smack a pervert.
And with the amount of space, it wouldn't surprise me if they're literally selling food in the same areas that they're shitting in.
Not only that, they're paying them for the shit.
Can they afford that?
I don't think so. Okay, so they've got a problem with kids just crapping in front of pay and use toilets. Well, no shit, that's going to be a problem. The city can't. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
You can't just pay your way to being civilized. You have to educate the people around you as well.
Yeah. So under the new scheme, this child is making ₹1 every time she uses a public toilet. Her visits are recorded on a card and she receives her money. Do they check to make sure she actually took a shit every time she goes to the public toilet?
I don't know. And it's kind of like you go to the loo, you spend a penny, literally in the UK, except it's the reverse.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like they get ₹1 every time they go to the loo. So, remember what happened last time we tried this, with the snakes and the bounties for the snakes? Yeah, they just made more snakes. She's just going to pretend to shit more. But don't worry. They're not just going to pay the kids to shit in the toilets. They're also going to open up to the adults who absolutely will have figured out the con of going, you know what? I already had a shit an hour ago down the road, literally down the road, but I'm going to come into this toilet where I get paid for shitting, and I'm going to pretend to have a shit.
I'm not even sure. They have to take 104 shits. 104 shits to equal £1. That's a lot of shitting. I'm going to be rich. My IBS problems.
Oh, yeah, here we go. You called it. Open defecation also has wider effects on country. Yet no shit. Gee, what was the mass outbreaks of disease not bad enough? affecting education, income, women's safety and dignity. It's not safe for women to go to the toilet in the open. Yeah, that was blatantly obvious.
I'm surprised we haven't had a pandemic thanks to the Indian sort of culture yet. We had obviously COVID and all their bullshit from China thanks to their open meat markets or their experiments, whichever you prefer to believe. But with these literally shit and where you eat kind of attitudes and the lack of access to even the fucking Romans had better access to fucking like public health and toilets and all sorts of shit. Literally. I'm just like, how can you be this far behind at this point in time?
I mean,
how is it not caused the end of humanity?
I mean, fuck me dead. We figured out what caused cholera, like, what, over 100 years ago in England?
Oh, yeah, probably longer than that by now.
Let me see if I can get up the story. An Italian in Florence, Italy. Oh, it was, god damn it. The germ responsible was discovered twice. Was it the germ when that guy did it? No, it wasn't. Sure. Here's the guy I'm looking for. The 1854 Broad Street cholera outbreak. Severe outbreak of cholera in Soho, London, England. I'd like to say Soho's gotten better, but I haven't heard good things.
No, not particularly. I imagine we might have our own outbreak there soon.
Oh, fuck.
People.
Tristan knew it off the top of his head before I even got there. 1854, Jon Snow and the Broad Street Pump, the Sanitary Revolution. Jon Snow knows one thing, cholera. Oh, fuck, that was awful.
Jon Snow knows cholera. Fucking love that.
Yeah, Little Green Martian. Interesting Game of Thrones book. Little Green Martian also said that Roman toilets had no privacy. Imagine looking at people and talking to them while shitting. That's still an improvement over talking to someone in the middle of the street while shitting.
Yeah, they actually had sewer systems. The Romans had sewer systems, and they actually used water to flush away the shit, so it wasn't where they ate. And that was, what? When did the Roman Empire end? Several centuries ago?
What is it, like 612 or 812 or something? I don't remember.
476.
476. That's the right one.
So, yeah, we've got, about 1,500 or more years of, civilization that can wipe its own ass properly and clean up after itself.
And they can't pretend they didn't know. They're Indians. The Romans did trade with them.
I don't know whether it's to do with their governance or not, to be honest. If it's a cultural thing. It's really hard to say. Because there's a lot of really rich, there's a lot of richness to Indian culture, but it's just like, how the fuck are you fucking up this badly?
Yeah, their culture's rich, but I think a large part of the problem is that the people that replaced the Raj were more corrupt than we could imagine. In India, India used to be really wealthy. That's why England went yoink.
Yeah.
So where did all that money go after the British pulled out? Well, that went to the top 0.001%, and wasteful expenses like public sanitation. Don't worry about that. I'm fine. I've got a fancy gold-plated toilet. Who gives a shit how many of the plebs die? There's too many of them anyway.
Yeah, that's usually the attitude, which is really sad.
Yeah, it does seem to be that way. So, going back to the 1854 outbreak, good old Broad Street. So, So, yeah, basically, big outbreak. It's cholera. People.
Yeah, Tristan says Ephesus had sewer systems back in 300 BC.
I'm not surprised. They had some impressive technology. So yeah, cellars had cesspools underneath their floorboards, which formed from the sewers and filth seeping in. Yep. So everything was overrunning, and the London government decided to dump the waste in the Thames. Blah 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 blah. Hold on, no, that's not how well, specifically gun. Sorry, you were saying?
I wonder. I don't know whether the Black Death affected India or not. I've never really.
I don't
I know it
know.
affected a lot of Europe, but I never really thought about whether it would have affected places like India.
Yeah, interesting. We'll check that in a moment. So, here we go. Competing theories of cholera. Fuck off. We don't give a shit about miasma. But
Wait, I thought you said competing theories of color. I was like, are they doing that now, where black theories
maybe.
of science are now being interjected?
Miasma theory. They want to talk to us about miasma theory. See,
Oh,
they were widely wrong, but you can kind of understand how they got to that. If you hang around things that smell bad, you get sick more often. I wonder if it's the bad smells. No. Go back a step from the bad smell. Anyway,
Bad smell's just a warning.
Jon Snow knows cholera. And Broad Street outbreak was an effect rather than cause the epidemic. So there was already a massive epidemic going on, and then there was this particular outbreak. And then they decided to do some actual fucking science. So...
Actual science is rare.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen any of that recently, have we? So Snow was skeptical of the prevailing miasma theory. Of course, we did have Dewey. I just crossed German Louis. We did have the Dewey decimal theory.
Oh my god. What's with this anti-Semitic theory of yours?
Apparently it causes cholera. No.
Oh god.
Maybe the no mustache man was
It
onto
was
something.
always the Jews.
He did say they were diseased.
Oh god.
Oh, fuck.
That just hit so. Oh, that hit good.
Anyway, so John.
Oh yeah. Apparently, Jesus, a little green Martian says India suffered from bubonic plague as recently as 150 years ago.
Oh, well, at least they're doing better than New York, which suffered from bubonic plague as little as 15 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're going for a record, aren't they?
Yeah, yes. So Jon Snow knew that miasma theory probably wasn't right, but he didn't have germ theory yet, because Louis Pasteur was not figuring shit out for another 7 years. So he didn't understand the mechanism by which the disease was transmitted, but the evidence led him to believe evidence in scientific discovery and epidemiology. Madness. What lunacy.
Almost sounds like witchcraft to me, you know.
Yes. It must be witchcraft. He hasn't been told what to do by a government doctor.
Yeah, that's true. He must be just, you know, one of those fortune tellers that can reveal
One of those crackpot conspiracy theorists who's literally about to do his own research.
I did my own experimentation, and I realized when I ate my own poo, it made me very unwell. So I stopped doing that.
I did my own research and found out that it was shitting in the well, not bad smells that cause cholera.
Oh, God.
Anti-vaxxer!
I can't believe you do this. I've been pooing in the toilet. No, I've been pooing in the street for years, and I've never been unwell.
Oh, God. And that's about the size of it. So...
That's the unfortunate thing. It genuinely is. People like that, like, well, I've done this for X number of years, and it's never affected me. I'm like, well, that's fucking lucky, isn't it?
So Little Green Martian picked up on what we said and says he's Googled bubonic plague in New York, and apparently 15 people get the plague each year.
How?
Shitting in the streets. Living in cramped confines. Homeless encampments.
I live in England, and so far I have had the plague 0 times.
Well, how much time do you spend with homeless, drug addict immigrants who smell of shit?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm not putting out, I'm not putting in the effort to get the plague, you see. Yeah, that's what it is. My bad. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Well, at least you admit you're...
I don't know what he's trying to tell me.
We have a new report from the trash can. The reason New York has the plague is, have you seen the size of those fucking rats?
I would love to have a pet rat, because I think rats are really cute.
Yeah, but you
don't seem to understand.
You haven't seen a New York rat. That thing's as big as a dog.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. I just
Well,
want.
for all-
I want to pet them. I think they're cute. I mean, obviously, I'd give them a bath and keep them clean, but like, I think people don't seem to understand.
You don't understand. You don't understand New York rats, Crow. First, they're from New York.
Well, I wouldn't want a New York rat
They
specifically.
are very, and they're very aggressive up there because they're unchecked.
The
basically.
apex predator in New
They're
York
basically
is
one
the
of the
rat.
predators.
I thought that was the New Yorkers. They are the rats.
No. They may be
No,
rats, but they're not.
it's trash.
Yeah. Marcus says a New York rat would probably pull out a 9mm if you approach one. So
New Yorkers aren't rats, just sweaty and rat-like. Yeah, that's a fair description.
yeah. So to going back,
Hey, I'm sweating here.
going back to Jon Snow, who knows nothing according to the established science of the day. He hypothesized that cholera was spread by an agent in contaminated water. First published his theory in 1849 in an essay titled On the Mode of Communication of Cholera. In 1855, he published a second edition, including a more elaborate investigation of the effect of the water supply in the 1854 Soho outbreak.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Based on the pattern of illness among residents, he hypothesized that it was in contaminated water, and he did up a map. A proper fancy map. So he looked at all these places that had cholera infections and went, gee, that looks awfully circle-like.
Yeah. It's almost as if they're all in a similar location, and therefore there's a spread from some particular source.
Yeah. Now, what's dead center in the middle of all those contaminated houses? Oh, a big fuck-off pump on Broad Street.
Yeah.
And what's that? People who live close to other pumps aren't getting cholera. Interesting. Wonder if that could be related. So, what did he do? As the story goes, he stole the fucking handle.
Did he really?
Yeah. So, reading the story because... So...
That's incredible.
In 1854, after several other outbreaks had occurred elsewhere, a major outbreak of cholera occurred in Soho. Snow later called it the most terrible outbreak of cholera which ever occurred in this kingdom. Over the next 3 days, 127 people on or near Broad Street died. During the next week, 3/4 of the residents had fled the area. By 10th of September, 500 people had died, and the mortality rate was 12.8%. Gee, that's a lot higher than 0.0001% amongst 80-year-olds.
Yeah, I wonder when we're going to get a real outbreak. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Interesting aside, in a first world country with access to proper healthcare, so, you know, not England.
Yeah.
The fatality rate of cholera approaches 0. Because what kills you when you've got cholera? Dehydration. What's easiest shit to solve? Shove some needles in a dude and fill him full of saline.
Yeah. And it's easy. You can make a saline solution at home. It's a little less easy to inject it into yourself, but you can do it.
Well, most people make saline, I was going to say injections. No. Most people make saline solution quite regularly. Like, if you've got a sore throat, when you mix the salt in, take a swig of the water and gargle that around. That's essentially a saline
solution
wash.
when I want to make some pasta, for crying out loud, you know?
I mean, I don't know if that percentage is high enough, but I mean, technically, so, to an extent.
Technically, it's saline solution, even if it's a low concentrate.
Yeah, fair enough. It's brine that's a specific percentage, I think. Anyway. Moving back...
I think brine is also specific other things as well, because it's not just sea salt in it.
Maybe. I don't know, I don't cook.
I kind of want to Google it now. Brine versus saline.
Yeah. So,
which is better for your health?
I think it's really more of a use rather than an actual difference between what it is. Yeah, brines, you can add other things to it, but it's meant to preserve food or prep food, where saline is specifically used for a medical purpose.
Okay, no, actually there is a concentration set up for them. So fresh water is TDS concentration less than 3,000 milligrams per liter. That's fresh water. 3,000 to 10,000 is considered brackish water. An excess of 10,000 is considered saline. And groundwater with salinity greater than seawater, which is about 35,000, is typically referred to as brine.
Oh, so brine's groundwater.
Essentially.
Huh. I've always heard it referred to in like the nautical sense.
Well, groundwater with salinity, because it's water that's not from the sea, technically.
No.
It's water that's from a normal ground system.
I imagine
I've had the salt added to it, so it's greater than normal seawater.
Ah, well, there you go. So let's see.
The more you know.
So going back to this outbreak with a mortality rate of 12.8%.
Yeah.
Many of the victims were taken to the Middlesex Hospital, where their treatment was superintended by fucking Florence Nightingale. Well, there you go. Who briefly joined the hospital in early September in order to help with the outbreak. According to a letter from Elizabeth Gaskell, she herself, Nightingale, was up night and day from Friday afternoon to Sunday afternoon, receiving the poor creatures.
Drinking like shit tons, just fucking plastered all the time.
I mean, was a nurse in the 1800s.
I mean, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. So receiving the poor creatures, chiefly fallen women of that neighbourhood, they had it the worst, who were being constantly brought in, undressing them, putting on turpentine stoops. I've probably fucked that, but I don't care, etc. Doing it herself to as many as she could manage. Talking to the local residents with the help of Reverend Henry Whitehead. Now, there's a name I've heard somewhere else before. What the fuck is he? Else did he get up to? Snow identified the source of the outbreaks as the public water pump on Broad Street, now Broadwick Street at Cambridge Street. Although Snow's chemical and microscope examination of a sample of the water from this Broad Street pump water did not conclusively prove its danger, his facts about the patterns of illness and death among residents in Soho swayed the St. James Parish authorities to disable the well pump by removing its handle.
Oh, so he didn't seal it, he convinced someone else to remove it.
Yeah, which is a shame, because it's a far better story if he flogged it.
Yeah. He's like, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own. Fuck these people.
Yeah. So Snow later used a dot map to illustrate how cases of cholera occurred around the pump, and his efforts to connect the incidence of cholera with potential geographic sources was based on creating what is now known as a Voronoi diagram. Why is it not a Snow diagram? He mapped the locations of individual water pumps and generated cells which represent all the points on his map which were closest to each pump. Yep, makes sense. Can we see, is this a particularly different map? Fuck it, we're going sciencing. Good old archive.org.
Tristan says pastel water shouldn't be a low percentage. It should be as salty as the ocean.
Yeah. Where were we? Page 45 of this fancy schmancy book, apparently. 214 pages on for the transmission of cholera. This must... That's impressive. Look, actual science, people. Oh yeah, that's the map we saw earlier. Well, one of.
Yeah.
It's being weird. Yep, 45. So big fold out map. And you can see, again, how people who are closer to the other pumps aren't getting cholera anywhere near as badly. So, does he have anything other interesting tables? He's got the list of deaths. There you go. 616 deaths. September 2nd was not a good day, apparently.
No. I find it interesting that I actually went through all of this detail. It's very early time for them to have this kind of scientific investigation.
Yeah, it was. What's this? Yep. Here we go. I don't think I can rotate in this view, but we also have tables, the district populations and the cases and deaths. Honestly, I'm surprised it was as low as 24%.
Yeah.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
mortality charts. We'll leave looking at that particular one alone for a bit, but I highly recommend checking that out. That is his book on the mode of communication of cholera, second edition.
The thing is, it paved the way for a lot of changes in London as well.
It did, and like once they've cracked this and gone, oh shit, if something related to cholera gets in the water's stuffed. So, does it say if or when he figured out that it was to do with poop? Ah, here we go.
Because wasn't Jon Snow responsible for the sewer system?
Probably we'll probably find that out.
I can't
shortly.
remember now.
Yeah. He also performed statistical comparison between one water company and a waterworks that was further upriver and hence had clean water. He showed that houses supplied by the former had a cholera mortality rate 14 times that of those supplied by the latter. So the further upstream, the lower the mortality rate by huge amounts.
Yeah.
And there was one
Doing
significant
God's work.
Yeah, and there was one significant anomaly, and I think this is where the off-cited but poorly backed up people in the olden days drank beer because it was cleaner than water thing came from. Because none of the workers in the nearby Broad Street brewery contracted cholera, as they were given a daily allowance of beer. They didn't drink from the nearby well and lived further away, so they weren't drinking from the well, despite being in the area.
Yeah. And that's actually a medieval thing that they spoke about, not a 1800s thing.
No, well, they say medieval, but I won't be surprised if they're getting it confused.
I wouldn't be surprised if it added to the mythos, but there was what they called it wasn't very strongly alcoholic, but it did have a minor amount of alcohol, and there's lots of historical references to it existing. So they did have people drink that quite a lot because it was generally safer.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was referred to as a short beer, if I'm thinking correctly.
Something like that, yeah.
Possibly.
I can't remember the name now.
It's a lot. It's definitely existed, and it was definitely true. But I think it's been wildly overblown, like stating that people never drank water. Well, that's obviously not true, but yeah.
No. Yeah, that would be retarded.
Yeah.
Well, I find it interesting because there still exists a beverage in Eastern Europe called kvass, which is basically has like a 0.001 alcohol content, but it's fermented in a very similar method as most alcoholic beverages, but just not to the same extent and with different ingredients. I think they use like a rye bread as a base, but the principle is they still have to boil it and process it. So I think that's where some of that mythos also comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely.
So obviously they weren't getting their water boiled before drinking it as part of the beer, and that was making them not catch cholera. So it was later discovered that the well had been dug a whole 3 feet from an old cesspit that had begun to link fecal bacteria. Wastewater from washing nappies used by a baby who had contracted cholera from another source drained into the cesspit. Its opening was under a nearby house that had been rebuilt further away after a fire and a street widening. At the time, there were cesspits under most homes, but most families tried to have their raw sewage collected and dumped to prevent their cesspit from filling faster than the sewage could decompose into the soil.
Which then led to the creation of the London sewers, if I remember.
Yeah. One of them eventually doesn't specifically talk about that. Henry Whitehead, but was mentioned earlier, former believer in miasma theory. He worked to disprove false theories. He was influenced by Snow's theory that cholera spreads by consumption of water contaminated by human waste. Oh, what's that? A scientist that actually changed his mind upon being confronted with evidence that he was wrong? There's something
that's
that
what
died
science was
earlier.
all about, wasn't it? I remember when science was all about, looking at theories and thinking, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean instead of the religion of science?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe that was the difference. This man worshipped God, not himself.
And it does make a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. So he was trying to disprove false theories. So then he comes across Snow's work and goes, shit, this isn't disproving. What if he's right?
It's like, shit, this guy's onto something.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so he then went with Jon Snow. He went on an adventure with Jon Snow, and that they were the ones who did the demographics and the maps and the interviews, and went,
Yeah. It's incredible though, because obviously, like, this shit is obvious to us now, but back then, no one had the inkling of this at all. So that makes me question: how the fuck is India still in this fucking problematic state that it's in?
oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Do they not have Wikipedia?
No, apparently not.
Ye old Wikipedia.
They applied the proper scientific principle of assuming they knew nothing. Yeah.
Jon Snow knows nothing, so he's gonna find out.
Yeah. The scientific principle of knowing nothing. I love that.
Let's see. Did Henry Whitehead show up in anything else, or do I just remember him from the last time I heard this story? No, not really. He's just got a really memorable name, and what a beard!
That's a rubbish beard. It's all wiry and fluffy, and there's no mass to it.
Can you do better, Crow?
You know, I probably could, but I've never tried.
Well, I mean, do or do not. There is no never tried.
Touche. This is where I come on with the fucking wild beard, and everyone's just like, what the fuck happened to you? Did you go fucking Castaway for a fucking month?
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised that we only got germ theory in the 60s, because we'd had lenses for centuries. Like, didn't old Copernicus have lenses for his old telescopes?
Oh yeah, I think it was. I think they had inklings, but I think the fact that they never put together these weird squiggly things in their samples actually did something other than exist.
Yeah, as Tristan points,
there was an old.
Tristan points out that the Americans used germ warfare to exterminate the natives. Yeah, but there's
really.
questions about that.
And that was the British.
Yeah. Well, true. 250 years before this story takes place would have been the British. Yes, based Copernicus. I blame the Horrible Histories books. Copernicus, if you're after the actual name. But yeah, obviously they had figured out long ago that, like, even centuries before that, they'd figured out that hoying dead bodies into cities with trebuchets and catapults was good for spreading disease. But that doesn't mean they understood germ theory. Knowing that dead bodies that smell bad cause illness.
Yeah.
That's
like
still
Little
my
Green
asthma
Martian
theory.
says. Like the Little Green Martian says, germs were discovered in the 18th century by early microscope, but it was not until a century later that they were then linked with disease.
Yeah.
And awareness of something and understanding how it affects the world around it are two different things.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we came up with a new name for gingers.
Germ theory? Oh, wait.
No, Copernicus.
Yeah. What?
Well, you have to remember, they were working under the concept of the four humors really right up until germ theory.
Yeah.
And it was a balance of elements of the body and things like that, that's where bloodletting came from, which actually served an interesting medical purpose, but
I'm a big
not
fan
the
of
way they
bloodletting. You know, blood for the blood throne. Sorry, skulls for the skull throne, blood for the blood god.
Well, something else to keep in mind is that the old what's his face? What was the guy's name? Barry Marshall. the guy who figured out that ulcers were caused by bacteria in the fucking 80s. He had problems with getting past the scientific consensus. He disagreed with the scientific consensus. So he experimented on himself. Turns out the scientific
And then he turned
consensus
into
was
the
full
Hulk.
of... Yes. And proved that the scientific consensus was full of shit.
I love the way it's just yes, and he moves on.
And well, I mean,
Just
you've
used
got
to my bullshit.
thalidomide. You've got thalidomide as a follow the consensus.
Yep.
Just do what you're paid to do and don't think about it too much.
Yeah, but because one scientist didn't follow the consensus and went, you know what, I'd like some more evidence before I okay this to be given to pregnant women.
And the scandal that caused.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how her career was after that. I mean, I would imagine had she not made a famous discovery, that her career would be over. They would just say, no, we're not letting you back in. We can't risk having you here because you'll expose more shit.
Well, if she hadn't been so violently right, I reckon she would have got the same treatment as all doctors who disagree with Big Pharma get. Oh, you're not approving our shit fast enough. Push them out. Push them out. FDA, push her out because she's not approving our drug. FDA is probably sitting there going, oh, come on, approve the drug, approve the drug. Oh, shit, she's right. Go away now.
She approved the drug, and now everybody's fucked. We blame her. She did this.
Exactly. That's exactly what would have happened. But no, it's 20 plus European countries and the United Kingdom had approved the bloody drug for pregnant women. One woman stood up against the scientific consensus and went, nah, get fucked. Turns out she was right and saved millions of babies in America.
It's funny because it really does show that it just takes one person to do the right fucking thing.
Yeah. One person, like...
Well, and that's why I'm just so openly opposed to anybody that says follow the science, do this. It's no, give me
the entire point of science is not to follow the science, but to question and do everything in your power to prove that you are either right or wrong and nothing in between.
Well, that's why
that's the problem. There's no questioning.
And that's the problem with the statement follow the science. No. That's what's the word? You know, like military intelligence.
Oxymoron.
Yeah, oxymoron. Following the science is an oxymoron, just like military intelligence. Because if following the science is not scientific, science demands that you see something and go, prove it.
Yeah.
Following the science is not scientific. But we said that 4 years ago.
Yep. I've
almost
been
as
saying
if
that with
independent thought is a real thing.
Yeah. I've been saying that about the whole climate bullshit because I'm sorry, the Earth goes through cycles. You can't tell me that man caused all of this. No, fuck off.
No, raise your hand if you remember being taught in high school science class that we were at the end of an ice age. Of course, the Earth's getting warmer. We're at the end of an ice age. Yeah, I
was also taught that there was nothing we could do to prevent it now that it already got to that stage.
Yeah.
Because that's how an ice age works.
Yeah, but I dead set remember being taught that we were on the tail end of an ice age, so the climate was going to get warmer. And we know the climate's been warmer than this. We're still, to this day, uncovering pissing vineyards in Scandinavia.
Not to mention that we know that there has been more CO2 than this with the dinosaurs.
Yep.
Yep.
If you actually do some science, all of this stuff gets disproven almost instantly when you start looking at actual raw data.
Well, it always does. Always does.
Well, you know it's bullshit because they've been telling us that the world's going to end every 10 years since the fucking 50s.
And the NHS is going to collapse.
To be fair, that might actually be true now.
I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't.
Oh no, the entire country the entire country will burn to the fucking ground to keep the glorious fucking NHS running.
Yeah. They'll even sacrifice the banks to save the NHS. That's what they'll do.
They'll sacrifice humans in an Aztec way to keep the NHS going.
Oh man, I'd probably be better medical healthcare than they're currently providing.
Wow, it'd be more science-based.
Sadly, that is violently, violently true.
Oh god.
So to finish,
I just want to see Rishi Sunak going out. To make the sun rise tomorrow, we must sacrifice 500 Englishmen today.
sadly,
We can
I've got
only sacrifice Englishmen because they are the ones that made gods angry.
Okay, so we've actually got a segment on that coming up.
Oh god.
So we'll get to that shortly. But to finish off this shit take, we need to look at a UN campaign. Take the poo to the loo.
Why is this a campaign?
Join the Take the Poo to the Loo campaign and pledge your support to a poo-free nation.
I'm actually gobsmacked. What the fuck?
I've checked. It's unicef.org.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god.
This is what the United Nations empire is doing.
This is a real website.
Diversity is our strength because poop.
That's a whole load of crap.
Wait. What does it say at the bottom? Open defecated daily in India is 65 million.
Somethings. Do they actually show? Oh god, they've got videos. I don't...
Oh no, they
That's
actually
just
someone
the
animated
headline.
it.
Oh my god.
Yes.
God.
Oh my god. We're on Rumble. Fuck it. Let's watch some shit memes. Just to address the little green Martian who asks why are they throwing on a kid's poster. Where do you live that crap is a swear word? Oh, we're watching them.
America is crap is meant to be quite
America's
rude, apparently.
prudish in all the weirdest fucking ways, aren't they?
I always
Damn
find
right.
crap a weird one to be upset with.
Mm-hmm.
Such
Well,
a
it's-
minor thing.
Remember, we had Puritans. That's why.
Yeah, true.
I'm just double checking trying to remember my sound settings. Yes, I can play this because I can just cut that track in post for the YouTube upload.
Nice. Oh god, no!
It's a call to poop.
This is how I sound when I shit. Ah!
Oh, the drums are representing poop falling into
Yeah.
the toilet.
For the record, for those who can't see, such as Bleach, they've all got pegs on their noses and they're shaking their heads going, ooh, stinky.
How are they smelling if they've got pegs on their nose?
Apparently they can taste it.
Oh no!
Taste the
Explains
rainbow,
why
Crow.
curry's so prevalent.
So you can't smell the shit.
Yeah.
Oh god!
Oh no, the poo's animated!
I fucking knew it would be. Why is the poo singing?
I don't know. Can't take this shit in it. Oh god, that's what that's from. That picture at the front's from this fucking video. Can't take this shit anymore. In India, 65 million kilos of poo is dumped in the open every day. Holy 65 million kilos of shit.
I mean, you got it right. Holy shit.
Yep.
I'm just. Someone took time out of their day to animate a pile of shit singing.
No. Somebody got paid to animate a pile of shit singing.
Yes.
Even better. Oh, but this is the shittiest work I've ever done. Way.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no.
And now the poos are.
Oh god. Oh, that's so fucking funny.
But don't worry. You can go to pootulu.com/pledge to pledge your support to a poo-free nation.
Oh god, play the next one. I want to
Yeah.
see this poo dabba dance.
Yep, so that one we just had, Bleach, was Poo Tulu, a Stinky
there's
Symphony.
more.
And up
There's
next is
more.
Poo Tulu, Poo Dubba Dance.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, this is great.
That's it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Save this for white pills. Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, they didn't even censor the word. Is this shit ever going to end? India has over 620 million people defecating in the open.
Oh, god.
Oh, we've got to run to the end of the video, don't we?
Oh god.
Oh
There's
my
more. Look, there's 2 more videos there. Go to the YouTube channel and see if
Oh
there's
no,
more.
there are. Poo Tulu, Poo Party,
Poo Party!
and Poo Tulu making of the Poo song.
Oh my god, that's fucking amazing.
Oh fucking Jesus.
Oh my god, I've got to share this. I'm gonna actually share this with the Lotus Eaters. This is too fucking good.
Jesus shitting on a street.
No, Jesus never did.
Well, we've had a request to play it again, and we're playing the Poo Tulu Stinky Symphony again.
Oh my god, they've got a mascot. They have a fucking mascot.
They've got a mascot.
It's a giant fucking poo suit, and they're walking around India.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh my god. So, oh god. Poo Tulu promo, 30 seconds. Or, oh, highway. They've got one for highways. Well, one for, fuck it, we're in. We're fucking in for a penny, in for a fucking pound. Oh no. Oh, they've got poo assault. Oh fuck, here we fucking go. God. Oh. Oh no. Oh, we've got a...
This is cultural enrichment.
Oh no, they've got a flash mob.
A flash poo mob.
Oh, well, what do we want to see? What should we check out, Cry? I don't know how many more we need to check, but fucking Jesus. Monkey says they even made the people poo coloured.
Yeah. Well, they wanted the mascot to be very relatable.
Little Green Martian says, play Poo Party. It's 4 minutes long, worth every second. Jesus fucking Christ, here we go. Uh-oh. He's dreaming about having the shit he needs to take. Hold on a second. It's marked for kids.
Oh my god, I had to send this to the Lotus Eaters. I was laughing too hard. This is from 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So how successful has this been?
None at all, apparently.
You know, does anybody remember the bird flu epidemic in Africa about about 10 years ago, maybe 12. And
Yes.
they had a campaign very similar to this, but it was about not eating bird shit.
What?
They need a campaign about
Yeah.
not eating bird shit.
Yeah. And I just remember that coming up. It's like, so what? People thought, oh, this white stuff that's fallen out of the sky is like candy?
Oh, Lord above. Apparently. It's manna from the gods, Bleach.
Yeah.
That biblical reference for the win.
So that explains some of the ritual dances.
Yep.
So if you think India sounds a bit shitty, you're probably right.
I got this is actually on YouTube
The
Kids.
comments are turned off.
No, yeah, because it's set as for Kids Crow. This shows up on YouTube Kids.
Oh, it does. No fucking way. I don't understand. And it doesn't even have that many dislikes as well.
Well, it's hard to tell because YouTube murdered all of those.
It's only got
Yeah.
430 on my end
Eh.
with the app.
Oh my god. They had a whole campaign that you could
now-
pledge to be
now,
part
how
of
long
the
before?
campaign.
How long before we're going to have these campaigns in Ontario?
I think they've already started.
Well, apparently they can just call up UNICEF and go, yo, can we get you shoot videos but in Canadian?
Unfortunately, they'll only do it in French and English, not Hindi.
Oh, fucking hell.
My side actually hurts.
And
I can absolutely tell you that's the first time I've ever seen that.
oh my
I
god,
can't unsee it. That's the problem.
I have so many questions.
I want to know whether it was successful, whether they've improved the public defecation issues, or if it's still just as bad. I need answers.
Oh god. I'm gonna have to Google this. Oh god, I Google weird shit for this show.
What? The FBI doesn't have you on a watch list because every time you search something, they're just like, "What's wrong with him?"
Don't worry about him.
campaign
He's
India.
fine. He's searching about people in India shitting on the streets. Was Poo to the Loo successful? Oh god, it's got a Wikipedia article.
Oh no!
Oh no!
It's even got a Wikipedia. That's amazing.
It's not even a stub! An India social media campaign led by fucking UNICEF. Oh, Lord. Oh.
Oh dear.
Vice
Not
News
even being
article.
part of.
There's a Vice News article. UNICEF is inviting India to a poo party. Article title from Global Post. UNICEF's Poo to Loo campaign targets open defecation in India with weird games, videos, shitty puns, and a turd mascot.
Wait, games?
Games.
Games? So we could have a game stream. Pun intended.
No,
Oh, no.
I don't think that's okay. Oh,
Oh,
hell.
fucking hell, indeed.
Could I imagine one of these games is Stop the Cholera? Poo toss?
God.
Oh, Lord. Let's see if what the archive has to say.
Poo with your friends.
Uh,
All of that. I would love there to be a Cards Against Humanity Poo to the Loo edition.
oh my god, that toilet Shrek. Like, that's a real game. You can play Toilet Shrek. Collect all 25 rolls of toilet paper and find a safe, clean toilet.
That looks like what's he call it? I mean, it's not, but you know, the Oregon Trail, but with toilet roll.
Oh,
Yes. Yes. Oh my fuck. Google. Oh my god. Oh lord. That someone, there's a meme video for someone. See if you can find a copy of that fucking game.
Oh yeah, if you do that, I think we'll probably end up playing it. Yeah.
Uh,
What the hell are those hands?
I don't know.
Better not wipe.
I'm glad I can't see
Use
that.
the toilet roll. Don't use the hand.
Oh, talk to the hand. There you go.
Oh my lord. Oh, Business Insider has an article.
Oh God.
Oh Lord above.
Has this just turned to talking shit about India today?
Oh.
Yes. What the fuck is wrong with you, India? Oh,
So,
Lord.
Look at the river.
America needs to invade Mexico. Britain needs to re-invade India, and do our God's work of civilizing places again.
You mean putting in indoor plumbing?
The bare minimum, yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Do we have any particular... Oh, God. Let's see if there were any comments that came up that we didn't cover while I was dying. Oh, Lord. Maureen says,
It's rare for
really?
something to leave you speechless.
Yes. Apparently that's the trick. Make a video game about not shitting in the street. That'll do it for Betsy.
Oh
Poop
God,
Tetris.
I really want to see an indie dev take the concept and just make it something really fucking popular.
Oh,
Make it
God.
like the next Five Nights at Freddy's, but about not shitting in the street.
Oh, what,
you know what'd be even better?
what about kind of like a reverse Frogger? Where the goal is to shit in the street.
I think what we need to encourage is Bollywood to make a singing musical about not shitting in the streets.
Oh God.
Hold on, I think that's on this YouTube channel. They've got a making of the poo song. And they've got a flash mob. Fucking hell.
Oh my.
Maureen said, really? Right in front of my food? You have the worst timing. Poor Maureen.
Maureen, we don't give trigger warnings. Watch at your own risk.
Oh, no. If we give a trigger warning, put the people under 40 who don't already have PTSD to bed.
Where did you say that?
Where did who say what?
Oh yeah, right. I didn't even see her in the chat at all.
We were busy. We were dying. I can't believe someone got paid for that. Oh, dear.
I mean, I'll take the money.
Well, yeah.
This turns out actually that this is the breakthrough campaign that person worked on. It's like, look, I did this animated campaign and now you can employ me. And they finally got the job that they wanted because of this.
Well,
can you imagine the interview? What's your biggest contribution in the field of animation? I made dancing poop.
You say that, but...
Oh, God. I need to go blow my nose a second. Be right back.
You say that, but the guy who wrote one of the songs composed the theme for the movie Life of Pi.
Wow.
Yep.
Damn. Okay. Okay. I mean, good for him, maybe?
Oh, Lord. Ay.
I'm just so glad we're all member nations of the UN and sending taxpayer dollars to fund these glorious campaigns.
That's it. I'm so glad money has been stolen from me to give to the UN to fund video as claymation animated videos to teach Indians not to shit in the street. Callum says 2009, I might remind us, the first signs of today. Yeah. And Non Bobcat says just put the trigger warning at the start of every show.
I thought that was Welcome to the Sultans of Chatelet was the trigger warning.
Yeah. Right, so guess that's enough about the Indians shitting everywhere. Oh, don't worry. But the last one. Apparently, someone made a documentary in 2014, "Poopy on the Beach in India."
Story of love and loss.
Indeed. Prime Knight says, "Think we all know there's only one thing that would actually stop this: a mother with a slipper in attack mode." Unfortunately, I don't think there are many Mexican mothers available to bring La Chancla or La Chancla or whatever the fuck it is. Fuck you, we didn't invade the entire world just to speak your languages. We need our Mexican grandmother with La Chancla had to run around and beat all 1.5 billion Indians until they stopped shitting in the streets.
It would only take one very angry abuela. Yeah, I'm good with that.
And it says, so immigration is shit, India to Ontario? Exactly. We don't go to India and shit in their toilets. They shouldn't come to our countries and shit on our beaches. Callum says, if the empire was to rise again, the creek would say us stopping Indians shitting in the streets is cultural oppression, and we would go, yes.
Based cultural oppression.
Well, actually, we've gone out now. We just say, it's a public health measure. And they can't stop us.
It's a poop pandemic.
Yep. We'll just construct we'll construct a cholera epidemic, and we must prohibit street shitting and require everyone to wear a mask over their ass.
I've got it. We need to build a big, beautiful toilet and make India pay for it.
Apparently, we do. Oh my sweet baby Satan.
Well, we are speaking of Canada, so you named Trudeau out loud.
And baby Satan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So that has been your regularly scheduled shitpost.
Yeah.
Has Crow returned?
I have, yes.
Excellent.
Did you wipe?
Yeah.
No, you don't need to when you just...
Loo.
You don't... Oh, loo! Or is that's cultural oppression of the...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
I explain.
What I like doing is I like using my white privilege to use as much toilet roll as possible.
I'll be honest,
so,
when I saw that video comment, I was not expecting it to go
occasionally
there.
have my finger slip through. I like having that nice protective layer,
Sorry. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this segment from the Sons of Chatelet podcast, please consider joining us live exclusively on rumble.com/c/Sons of Chatelet. A special thanks to our Subscribe Star supporters who you can currently see scrolling past on your screen.